Hi everyone, welcome to this video. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about orientation for new university students. So this actually is a presentation for students who have been admitted, newly admitted into university, and who will be going to university for the first time. So I'll be talking about things that they have to look out for and how to help themselves have a smooth stay on campus. So the presentation will have the following outline. First, I'm going to talk about university life. Then I'll also talk about the most important activity on campus. Then I'll also talk about the academic structure of the university, something that the students should be aware of. Then I'll also talk about resources and support services on campus. Then I'll talk about safety, security, and well-being of the students. Then I would also talk about navigating your first weeks on campus. Then I would also look at financial responsibility and other kinds of responsibilities also. Then I'll summarize the presentation, bring the presentation to a close. So let's get started. The university typically is a place of academic study and knowledge acquisition. So once you come to university, you are here to study, and it is basically the academic study. That is why you are here at the university, and it's envisaged, or it is expected that at the end of your study, you would have acquired some knowledge that will help you move your life further. And for every student who has been admitted into a university, the years that you spend at the university is something that is dependent on the kind of program or the course you're pursuing and the level at which you're pursuing the program. So some levels, like the diploma level, would have typically, let's say, 2 or 3 years. Some will also have 1 year. There is the degree level, which typically will be 4 years for some people, and it's going to also be 2 years or 1.5 years for other people who are coming for a top-up program. Then the masters and the postgraduate level also have their own years, depending on the kind of program, which may be either 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, or 5 years, depending on the kind of program that you're pursuing. So the stay that you would have at the university depends on the kind of program you're pursuing. And in a typical university environment, there are several activities that actually take place, or that particularly occur. And there are activities that are academic in nature, and there are also other activities that are non-academic. And all these activities together would actually help shape your life and your perspective as you go through the university training. And once you're on campus, you have freedom. You have freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do, to live, to be yourself, to go, to come, to study, and to do whatever it is within the confines of the whatever law that is available at the university, or whatever principles that actually guide life on the university. And you are personally responsible for yourself as you are in the university, and you need to be guided by the laws or the rules or the code of conduct on the university. Every university has certain laws or certain codes of conduct which is encoded and which is also available to every student. You need to know these, and you need to know how to organize and go by your life on campus so you don't get yourself into trouble. And at the end of your stay in the university, it is expected that you complete school in peace and successfully, and then you move on after school and to make progress with your life, basically. Now, in a typical university environment, there are a lot of things happening at the same time. Some of them are academic, some of them too are not academic. They are social, the emotional things happening, financial, everything happening at the same time. And not all these activities are actually important in a typical university environment. And you need to be aware so that you'll be able to separate activities that are core university activities that are important to you, and then other activities that are extra, which are not so important to your stay in a university. And in a university environment, the most important activity on campus is examinations. because it is examinations that will guarantee that you are able to complete school successfully. Because if you go through all the other activities on campus and you fail your exams and you are not able to pass, there's no way you'll graduate. However, if you take the other way around, if you ignore all other activities and you're able to go through the academics and study and pass all your examinations, it is likely that you would complete school peacefully. So examinations is the most important activity that your focus must always be on. And in a typical university environment, the examinations typically encompass your assignments that you do, your lab work, class tests, your semester assignments, homeworks, etc. And then the end of semester examination. Because every university, the academic structure is such that the year that you spend in a typical year, the year is divided into semesters, into two. So you have one semester, you go on vacation, then you have another semester, then the year comes to an end. So in a particular semester, you have various items that have been listed, forming your assessment for your final examinations, and all these come together to ensure that you actually have a certain pass mark that will guarantee that you can move to the next step. If you are not able to achieve that particular pass mark, then it is said that you have actually failed or you have trailed. And in most university environments, you would have to make provision to reset that particular course that you trailed, so you can move forward. If you don't reset, it will be difficult for you to move forward with it. And for each semester, as you go through the semester week by week, day by day, you would have to prepare and you have to get involved in all the activities that will help you gain marks for the semester for each course. So assignments, you have to be engaged. Lab work, you need to take them seriously. Your class tests, your mid-semester examinations, your end-of-semester examinations, you need to take all these seriously, because it is the marks that you make from all these throughout the semester which is combined to actually make your final mark per each course at the end of the semester. And as I said before, you would have to pass a certain threshold, or your mark should be above a certain threshold. Some universities have 40% as that threshold. It means if you have above 40%, you passed. Below 40%, you failed. Some universities also have 50% being the threshold, which means that you need to pass and make a mark. You need to make a mark above 50%, 50 or above before you pass. Anything below 50 up to 49, from 0 to 49 is a fail. So depending on the kind of university where you are, you need to know this so that you'll be able to prepare accordingly and then target your mark also accordingly, so you can actually go above the pass mark for the institution. Now at the end of the day, if you don't pass your examinations, you are not graduating. And if you don't graduate, it means that your stay at the university, regardless of the number of years you actually spent, could actually be useless or could be meaningless. So it is very, very important that the issue of examination is taken seriously, because for you to graduate peacefully and have your certificate, you need to be able to pass all your exams on campus from year to year, semester to semester, before you can actually be allowed to graduate. Without this, there's no graduation. Now, every university actually has an academic structure, and this structure helps in the effective management of the university. And as a student, you need to be aware of how this structure actually is, so that you know how to interact accordingly with the structure. And as a student, you directly belong to a department. A department is part of the structure of the university, and that is where you plug in directly, or that is where you actually belong. So the department basically is your first line of interaction with the university structure, meaning that if you have any issues or any problems or anything regarding your stay on campus, you go to your department, you make the necessary inquiries, and then the department can actually guide you as to what next step to take. So your department is your first line of interaction, and that is where you belong. And in the university structure, different departments are also placed under a faculty. So typically a faculty, for instance, let's say a faculty of engineering or a faculty of science would actually be there, and then there will be different departments placed under this particular faculty. Let's say department of computer science, or maybe department of mechanical engineering or something like that. And then the students will be members of the individual departments that are actually under the faculty. And then the faculties are also organized and grouped and placed under a college. So some universities actually have colleges under which there are faculties and then there are departments. Some universities also, instead of faculty, they may have school. So you can have a school of, let's say, engineering, a school of science or something like that. And under the school, the departments will be there. So from the faculty or school level, then there's a college level, which actually organizes the various faculties within the university. And then each college is actually grouped together. The colleges are grouped together, and then they're also placed under the management of the university. So basically that's what it is. So university management actually has the colleges directly under them. Then the colleges have the faculties directly under them. Then the faculties have the departments directly under them. For universities that don't have colleges, they will typically have either faculties or schools. So the departments will be there. The departments will be under the school or the faculty. Then the faculty will be directly under the management. So basically this is how the structure is for most universities. There may be some specific variations, depending on the kind of university that you are in or that you attend. So it is important that you get to know this particular structure, so that it will help you interact with the university effectively if you have issues that you need to get resolved. And as a student, at your level as a student, if you have any problems or any issues regarding academics or non-academics, it is always advisable that you first engage your department, because your department is actually where you belong. That is your family in the academic structure. So if you have any issue, if you have any inquiries you need to make, or there's any problem you seek to resolve and you don't know how to go about it, it is always important to actually engage your department first, and the department will actually show you the direction or the further action you need to take to get your issues actually resolved. And for students, it's very important. This particular point here that I'm making is very, very important, because you want to avoid situations where you can be misled by engaging, let's say, other colleagues or other people elsewhere who don't really understand what it is that you need to seek or what it is that you are seeking. So sometimes you can have a situation where students, instead of engaging their departments to get resolution to their issues, they end up engaging friends and colleagues and other people who may not even be members of the university, and they get swindled, or they can actually show them a different direction, which is actually away from what they are actually seeking. So it is important that as a new as a new student on campus who is trying to find your way around whatever issues you have, it is always advisable that you first engage your department, and your department will show you the direction you need to take to get your issues resolved. Now, in a typical university, there will be various resources available to actually help support your stay there as a student. And some of these resources are listed as follows. So you have a student affairs office, which exists within the university structure to actually help with all issues related to your stay as a student. So if you are a student, whatever it is that is related to your stay, your academics, if there are other issues, non-academics, whatever it is, this is the office for you, and you need to be able to engage and interact with this particular office to get all your issues resolved. And if you don't even know that this office exists and you go to your department, based on the issue that you need to resolve, if it has to do with this particular student affairs office, your department will direct you to that particular office to actually get your issues resolved. So take note of that. There is also a guidance and counseling unit in the university, which actually exists to help you and guide you on issues that you need advice and mentorship and counseling for. So whether you have issues with your academics, you need advice, or you need some counseling, or issues related to other non-academic activities like social issues, emotional issues, mental health issues, several other things. every university will typically have this particular unit, guidance and counseling, that will be equipped with professionals, who can actually guide you through whatever it is that you're going through. So this office also exists to support students with their issues. Then there's also ICT services. Every university will typically have this office. It may not necessarily be named ICT services, it may have a different name, but the function will be the same. They will be in charge of all the internet issues, computer issues, software issues on campus. So if you need internet access, let's say you need to do something online, some registration, or you need to interact with the institution, you need to do something, online, and you have issues or challenges, you can actually engage this particular office, and they can help you get your issues resolved. Some of them go to the extent of even advising students on the kinds of computers they can use for the kinds of programs they want to pursue. So for instance, you have a program you are pursuing at university, you need to get a computer to help you based on what you need to use the computer for. If you are not sure of what kind of computer to get, you can actually engage this particular ICT services, and they can help you land or get the kind of computer that can help you with your program. So basically, and several other things too. So this office would actually exist in most universities. And then most universities will also have a hospital or a clinic where they will attend to health issues. If you are sick, you don't feel well, you can go there and they will attend to you. And the services here, you've paid for it already in your fees, so you can go there, they will attend to you, whatever medicine they need to give you and advice. You can get it from there, and then you can cure. They can help you cure your illness. Then there will also be a security unit which will be in charge of all security issues on the university campus. All security issues. So if you have any concern related to security, you've been robbed, somebody has stolen your item, or maybe you've seen some suspicious people on campus, you don't know what to do, you can always engage this particular unit, and then they actually have professionals there, who can take up the issues and actually resolve them and get to the bottom of it. Then there's also a financial account unit specifically to serve students. What this unit does in most universities is that they actually help students with issues related to payments, university payments. So payments like school fees, if there's some other fee you need to pay, some supplementary fee you need to pay, examination fees, and let's say you have a scholarship package, you need to resolve some anomalies regarding where your scholarship has been paid or not, or whatever it is. All these issues in relation to payment, this particular office exists for students in any typical university to help you resolve this particular issue. So if you have any such issues, you can always engage this particular office and get your issues resolved. And most universities will have other structures, which have not been listed or described here, depending on the kind of university and the mission or the aim of the university. So if as a student you are not sure of these, but you have issues that you need to resolve, it is always important to engage your department. So you can go to your department, discuss your issues with them, and then if any of these other units or offices exist within the university, your department will direct you to where you can actually get your issue actually resolved. So it's very, very important. Your department is your gateway into the university structure. Now, as a student, you are responsible for your well-being, you are responsible for your safety, you are responsible for your security. You need to always be alert, keep your eyes open, avoid suspicious people. You need to avoid suspicious events and suspicious places, because the university is an open place. A lot of things are happening. There are a lot of events happening, academic, non-academic. Students are traveling up and down, moving, attending different things at different times, even in the evening, sometimes even in the night. So you need to be sensible about this. If you're invited to go somewhere, you need to keep your eyes open. If you have security concerns, it's better not to go. Because if you go and something happens to you, eventually you are responsible for it, because you have freedom. You make your own decisions, basically, within the confines of the regulations of the university. So you need to keep your eyes open and take your security and your safety seriously. When you arrive on campus, try and read all security tips, because most universities, in anticipation for the first year or the new students coming in, will typically have notice boards where various things are pasted there to give information to the incoming students. And among this information will be some security tips and all that. Try and read these security tips. Based on the university where you are, if you have issue, directions may be given on these tips as to which office to contact. If there's any phone number there, try and memorize the phone number or have it handy, so that in case you have a problem related to security and you need to make a call or something like that, you can easily make the phone call. It is very, very important that you take note of this. Also, try and do your rounds and your movement mostly in the daytime. In daytime, there are people around, and it's much safer, and security is not really much of an issue in the daytime. However, try and limit movements in the night. If you have things you can do in the daytime, it's always important that you do them in the daytime. If you need to go somewhere, you go to town, to buy something, it's very important that you do this in the daytime, so that you don't have to go around town and do these things in the night, because typically in most places in the night there may be security concerns. Now, if you have to, by all means, move out in the night and do something, or go for some errand in the middle of the night, it is always important that you try to move in groups instead of moving alone. So try and find other people also going around which you can trust, and go with them, because once you are in a group, it actually enhances your security as a whole. Now, one thing you also need to avoid is to avoid flaunting or showing off luxury gadgets. As a student, avoid this. So flashy phones, flashy tablets, laptops, watches, jewelry, cash, other things that can attract the prying eyes of predators. You want to avoid flaunting these things, because these things attract people. And once you are flaunting these things, you can attract the wrong kind of people, and that can actually end up becoming trouble for you. So if you have a bag or something like that, keep these things in there. If you need to go to campus with these things, like your tablet or laptop, keep them sealed in your bag and close them. Don't show them off for other people to see that I have the latest laptop, or let's say I have the latest phone or tablet or whatever it is. Because once you show off, you never know what somebody else who may see it may be thinking. You could be the person's next target. So it is important that you avoid flaunting these kinds of gadgets, that you try and be as modest as possible, so you don't attract the wrong kind of attention. And always be aware of your environment. Avoid distractions. Always be aware wherever it is that you are, whether in a classroom, whether you are walking on campus, or whether you need to go on an errand in town. Always be aware. Avoid distractions, and at least be aware of your environment, so that if something is going wrong, you can actually foretell. And if there's any security issue that you need to report on, it's always important that you report these security matters to the security units. And in relation to this particular point, what I would like to say is that sometimes you find students, just walking around, and they have their gaze on their phone, and they are chatting and texting and still walking around, and they are completely unaware of what is happening around them. If someone is following you, trying to pickpocket you or something like that, if you are so focused on your phone, walking around like that, how would you know? So you need to be aware of your environment. Know who is following you or who is ahead of you, and once you are aware, it will go a long way to actually help you in the long run. Now, when you arrive on a university campus, you need to be concerned about certain things. And some of these things, I've listed them here. You need to be concerned about your department office, where it is located. You need to know. You need to know where your department office is, because your department office is the office where you can get most of your issues resolved, or you can get information that can help you take better decisions as you're moving around campus. So you need to know where your department office actually is. Now, you need to know your courses for the semester. You need to register them. This is also something you need to be concerned about. In most universities, once you arrive, you need to register. The registration is more like some kind of information collect, some some kind of register that that will testify that indeed you've come to campus and you've enrolled on this particular program, and you are going to be there, for the whole semester. If you do not register, there are some courses you may not be able to take part in, and if you don't know this or you're not aware of this, things could be too late by the time you realize them. So once you arrive, the first thing you do, or part of the first things you do, is to register your courses for the semester. The university also has an academic calendar. Every university has this. In the academic calendar, all the activities for the whole semester, or sometimes for the whole academic year, are described, and the timelines are given for each one of them. Time that you're going to write your mid-semester examination, time you need to report on campus, time you need to vacate, vacation time, the length or duration of the vacation, or if there are other activities, the time, the weeks that it will be done. All these things are described in detail in the academic calendar, and it's important that you know this so that you can plan your life on campus. Your academic timetable, the timetable that you'll be using to go for classes, is something you need to be concerned about, and it's something you need to know. You can typically get this from your department. So the day-by-day courses you're going to do, the venue, the classrooms you're going to attend them, and then in that particular manner. So this information is also available, which you must also know. Now, your lecture halls and other important locations on campus, you must know them, where you'll be attending classes. All this information will be in the timetable, so you need to know them so that you know exactly. So once you wake up in the morning and you're going for a class, you know exactly where you're heading towards, or you know exactly where you're going, so you don't get to class late, and all that. And then other important locations too are important that you need to know. Places where you can get food to eat, you can get water to drink, washrooms, other places, other strategic places that will make your life comfortable on campus. You need to know these locations, like locations where you can get important things to buy. You need to know these when you arrive on campus. And also, making friends and adapting to a new environment. It is important that once you arrive, try and mingle and make friends with other people, because most of the issues that you would have as a new student, several other people have already gone through that and resolved the issues. And if you're able to interact with these people, they can actually also help you and guide you much faster. You can move much faster and know things and learn things, about the university environment where you are much more quickly. So it's important that you interact with people, those who have been there, and the new people who are coming in. Try and mingle and also adapt to the new environment. Get to know the environment. Get to know places you can easily go and places you cannot go. Get to know these places so you can actually structure your life on campus. And then who to contact when you need help. You need to understand that if you need help in critical stages, what do? Who do you contact? If you need to contact your department, who in the department do you have to contact? This is something you need to be aware of. Or if you have some friend, a very close friend, or somebody on campus which you can contact, in even odd hours and all that, you need to keep the contact details of such a person, so that if anything happens, or you need help, or you need some kind of information, you can easily get this from you can easily get this information and resolve whatever issue you have. So this contact can be your department office, it can be any other office within the university, it can be individuals in the university system, trustworthy people who can actually guide you, who can help you with whatever issues that you're going through. And you need to know them, you need to know the contacts. As a student, you have an obligation to manage your finances well, or else you'll be miserable on campus. Because if you manage your finances well, you can have a smooth stay on campus, and other things will not become much of a problem for you. And that alone is your responsibility. And if you're a university, or the university where you are, if the university communicates to you by notices, which are placed on notice board, which most universities do, then it means that you need to be able to check notice boards regularly, so that you can be abreast and know exactly what is happening within the university system. So most universities would actually put information on notice boards for people, You need to know. You need to read this notice board so you know what is actually happening or what information the university is actually giving out. If your university, because of technological advancement, some universities also go a step further to communicate directly with students through short messaging service, SMS, or by email. So it means that your phone number that you use for admission, which is in a university system, this is what is going to be used, and your email, which typically the university will give you, you would also use. So you need to check these regularly if this kind of system is in place in university, so that you can also be abreast and be current with whatever information your university is seeking to give out, so that you can actually take advantage of any opportunities there may be within these communications. Now, as a student, you have rights and you have responsibilities, and these will be enshrined, in a document, which would also be available to you upon admission. Typically, it may be a student code of conduct, it may be some handbook, or it may be some law or some statutes or something like that. This document would have things inside, things you can do as a student and things you cannot do as a student, your disciplinary procedures, and then the kinds of punishment for some, if you flout the university regulations, what becomes your fate, or what ultimately happens to you. All these things will be described in detail. So this will be like a law for the university, which you must know and obey. So these, you must know them, and then you must act accordingly, so that you don't find yourself wanting later on when you're on the wrong side of the law. And in a university structure or in a university system, there are deadlines for everything: payment of school fees, registration, the scholarship opportunity announcement, student loans, etc. All the things that will be of benefit to you, or the kinds of interaction that you would actually make with the university structure, there are deadlines for everything. And all these deadlines will typically be in the academic calendar, or it will be through other kinds of communication that the university will communicate to students. So it is important that everything that concerns you, that you are interested in, that you need to take advantage of, you note the deadline and then you act accordingly. There's a deadline for payment of school fees for most universities. If you don't pay the fees by then, it means you forfeited your slot as a student, and you may have to defer, your stay as a student to the next academic year. There's scholarship opportunities which may be announced in some universities. These also come with a deadline. If you want to apply, you need to be within the deadline. And there are several other things too. So deadlines are very important, and it's important that in anything that concerns you, what you want to get involved in, you understand what the deadlines are and act accordingly as a student. So let's summarize everything that we have said so far. So in summary, the university is a place of academic study, and the university environment can be quite challenging, especially if you're arriving as a student for the first time, especially for university campuses that are quite big and quite wide with a lot of locations inside. In this kind of environment, it can be quite challenging for a new student who is being there for the first time. And as a student, your first line of communication or interaction with the university is your department. You need to always understand where your department actually is, so that you can actually get information from your department. If your department has a notice board, always check that notice board and be abreast with information and what is actually happening. The department exists to serve you and to guide you. So if you have any issues or any problems, also you can engage the department, and the department can help you resolve the issue. Now, throughout your stay in the university, the most important activity which you cannot forego is examinations. The examinations is the only activity which will help guarantee that you can complete school in peace and go. If you take examinations seriously, you can easily graduate and go in peace and go and continue your life. However, if you fail your examination, you don't take it seriously, and you get involved in other kinds of activities that are not important on campus, you cannot graduate. And sometimes, if your failed courses actually go beyond a certain threshold, based on the university rules for the university you are in, you can be repeated, or you can actually be expelled from the university. So examinations is something that is very, very important, which you cannot forego which you must take note of. Every university is governed by laws, and you must know what the laws are, especially the parts of the law concerning you as a student, your stay on campus as a student. You need to obey these laws, and you need to do or act accordingly in order to avoid trouble on campus. Now, as a student, you have freedom. You can do whatever it is that you want within the confines of the law of the land, and you are responsible for yourself. If you act accordingly in resonance with the law, you'll be fine. Nobody will have any issue with you. If you go against the law, it is your responsibility. You'll be dealt with, according to the law. So it is important that you keep your eyes open, that you understand the main reason why you are on campus. You are there for academic study, and then you focus, and then you study, and then you complete school peacefully, and you go on and move on and make progress with your life. It is very, very important that you keep this in mind, that ultimately you are responsible for yourself in any university campus. So this brings me to the end of this particular presentation. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.